Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today my friends at Sideshow have asked me to take a look at this, their Mythos Obi-Wan Kenobi 6-scale figure. I'm going to unbox it, hit a couple of poses, and then show it off in a photo gallery. Let's go. Okay, first up, as always, I like to take a look at the packaging, and it's pretty much everything that we've come to expect from Sideshow or Hot Toys. You've got some solid photography on the front of the box. The colors are, that neutral gray and the black with that striping there. That's pretty much par for the course. It's dictated by Lucasfilm. Look at that. I love what they're doing with this kind of pattern going on with the photography in the back. That's the second figure I've had from Sideshow that's done that, and I really like it. The neutral gray, seems to be noticeably lighter than previous offerings. I'd have to go back and compare the two. Maybe it's just me. You can't really tell it in the video, but still. So here's the figure. Still in the box, still in the packaging. I've taken all the plastic off of it. It's got a great array of accessories. There's a lightsaber blade, Obi-Wan's lightsaber hilt from both Episode 3 and 4 and Episode 2. Luke slash Vader's slash Anakin's lightsaber hilt. These goggles are pretty awesome. Reminiscent. Well, we'll tell a story about those goggles later. There's a Clone Wars era macro binocular set right there, and that's kind of a cool little throwback. We've got a gun there, several switch out hands. The really cool bit is down below here. When you pull the body up, you can see nicely separated by that foam is his backpack where he literally carries his past. There's his Clone Wars era armor, as well as several other knickknacks, as well as a few items that he's obviously picked up since he's begun his exile on Tatooine. The portrait it's different than the Mythos statue, and I like it. The portrait for the Mythos statue had two portraits, actually. One was a younger version of Obi-Wan in Episode 4, Alec Guinness's face, and another was an older version of Ewan McGregor post Episode 3. This figure strove to create sort of a mix-up of those two. So what we have is Sideshow's artists have imagined what Obi-Wan would have looked like between the two portraits that they used on the Mythos statue, if that makes any sense. At any rate, the end result is a portrait that I consider to be a pretty successful imagining of what Obi-Wan would look like if you mixed Ewan McGregor's face with Alec Guinness's at a point midway between Episodes 3 and 4. At any rate, as you can tell, we're posing now. So, I've already assembled this backpack, partially. Not everything is on there. I haven't put the rifle in, and I haven't slung the macro binoculars, because, quite frankly, I wasn't sure how I was going to be posing them at this point. But I did hang the lightsaber hilts from the back there, and did a couple of other things that I'll show you here in a second. The backpack is a challenge to put on. What I've done is I've moved the arms basically directly back behind Obi-Wan, rotated them so that the forearms bend inward towards the center. That enables you to extend those straps out and actually get them over the front of the hands. My fat hands are going to be getting in the way of the shot, and I apologize for that, but you'll just have to listen to my voice directions. Now, watch what I'm doing here in the inset. These two leather straps that are meant to hold the hilts, they're very tight, they're very snug, so you're going to have to exercise a lot of caution when you put those things on, especially see that little tiny bit there on the head of the Graflex saber. Yeah, I didn't even come close to breaking it, but I was being very, very, very gentle. I just use extreme caution. The leather straps wound up being pretty sturdy on mine. I don't know if anybody else has had any trouble with them, but I did not, other than the fact that it was exceedingly tight, and I really just had to be patient and just gently work them over the little nerdy bits. As you can see, my patience paid off, and it hangs quite nicely there. Getting back to the backpack, what you will see on the side there is what I've done is I've just gradually pulled it over his arms, basically mimicking with his arms the motions that you would be making if you yourself were to be putting on a backpack. Once you get those straps above the forearms, then you bend your arms out so that these straps are hooked, and then you just shrug it up over the shoulders, and Bob's your uncle. Once you have that both straps over his shoulders, then you want to take a moment and just futz with that, the remains of his Jedi cloak. Just get that so that it's falling nice and naturally. I'm just kind of paying attention to what I'm doing here. The straps will have a tendency to make it lift and shift off center, either forwards or backwards, so just pay attention to that seam line on the shoulders. Make sure that it's running right down the middle of the shoulders. Looking back, we've got both lightsabers in the inset there now. They just hang nicely and just dance back and forth. You can just mess with those, have them hidden a little bit, maybe have them out completely. The straps will allow you enough leeway to give you some options there. Having finished getting those lightsabers on, you can see that I'm still working at getting those straps up over the shoulders. That should tell you something. This takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, actually quite a bit of patience. So it's for the best. It's better that Sideshow did it this way. I've had experiences with backpacks that had straps that were too loose, or that you were meant to tighten yourself, and I prefer this. I prefer actually having to take the time to just carefully finagle it over the sleeves, up the arms, and onto the shoulders. I've got a nice snug backpack there now that I can rest assured is not going to be relaxing and falling off. Now here, this is kind of crucial to the look if you want to match what we saw on the Mythos Obi-Wan statue. We've got his goggles. I'm showing you right here how to take off that head, and once you've got that freedom, once you've got that head removed, then you can pull those goggles over the neck without any fear of scratching the face. You don't want to mess up that portrait. You paid money for that. Now, at this point, I've decided basically what I'm going to be doing for the pose, so I'm going to go ahead and sheath that rifle. There's a handy little leather strap on the back that the rifle just slides right into. It looks really good. And that's it. I think we're set. That is absolutely everything every accessory that this thing comes with, properly installed on the backpack. You can see I'm just futzing with the lightsaber hilts, and just kind of, he's walking around on Tatooine. You don't want to be showing off the fact that you've got even one weapon of a Jedi, let alone 3. So that's probably why he's keeping them hidden back there. Rifle, armor, all sorts of knickknacks on the backpack. He's legitimately and figuratively carrying his past with him as he trudges across the landscape of Tatooine. Now we're getting to what I consider to be one of the highlights of this figure, and a great success insofar as the cut and sew department is concerned. This is, without a doubt, the most fun I've had playing with a hood, in that it was really, really easy to make this thing fall naturally. You can see in the photographs later on that I almost never hit the same look with the hood twice. You can just do so many great things with it. Typically, when it comes to hoods, one of the issues that you have is the hair, the sculpted hair on top of the figure. It gives an elevation to a hood that you wouldn't normally see in a full-sized person. Your hair gets squished by the weight of the hood, and that just doesn't happen when we're talking about the hard plastic that serves as the hair on these figures. But there's something about this hood that just, everything I've done with it, you can pull it really far forward to shield the eyes. You can have it fall back like he's just barely altering his silhouette. Whatever you do with it, it's going to fall naturally if you just pay a little bit of attention and do some stuff with the bottom of the hood where it attaches to the cloak, to the tabards, or what have you. Gradually getting near to the end of this first pose that I chose to hit, and that pose is, as you can tell, just basically going to be a museum pose. You can get away with that very easily with a figure like this, where there are just so many accessories to show off. That can wind up being the dominant presence in your photographs, in your display, or whatever you're using this figure for. For people like me who've thought about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his time on Tatooine for years, since 1977, for me it's just cool enough just to see this character realized at this point of his life, not once but twice now, and that's just at a minimum. Keep in mind, we're looking forward to a full-on TV show featuring Obi-Wan Kenobi at this time. This is Sideshow being ahead of the game. I mean, you can legitimately say that Sideshow had the idea for the Kenobi TV show, insofar as a storytelling thing is concerned, long before it actually became a thing. As I'm wrapping up this museum pose that I'm hitting here, I should probably talk a little bit about what I'm trying to accomplish. Again, museum poses, by their nature, basically static, straight up and down, a whole lot of vertical going on. But you really can't limit yourself to just that. So I'm twisting the torso a little bit towards camera front, just to break those lines like I always try to do. And now I'm breaking it even further by twisting his head a little bit more towards the front. I want that hand out there, just kind of semi-gesturing, like you don't know if he's going to be doing some sort of a force, like a force push, like a Jedi mind trick, any of that. I just wanted him, and I also wanted that other hand to be simulating like he's just holding the strap of his backpack. It just creates an interesting life-like presence to the figure, and that's really what you want to come across. Another thing that I came to figure out while I was posing this is that it really looks good. The figure really looks best when viewed from below. Just give Obi-Wan a little bit of that hero presence by putting him on a higher shelf. Eye level at the very least, preferably above if you can. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'll illustrate it more when you see that most of the shots that I took, if not all of them, were taken from just about ankle height. Even this one is fairly low, and you can just see how just looking up at his face there just lends a little bit more. It really helps the portrait itself, the paint job, and yeah, it just looks good overall. Now, because this is Obi-Wan, and because I am so excited about the Mythos line and this figure in particular, I'm going to go ahead and do a second pose, which is not something I normally do in these little unboxing videos of mine. Also because I think a lot of people will be dissatisfied with just being shown a museum pose. So my goal here, I think, is going to be as close as I can to mimic the look of the statue, the Mythos Obi-Wan statue that came out. Oh God, how long's it been? I think it's been since 2012, 2013. It's been a long time. At any rate, so yeah, start off with, I'm going to go ahead and hang these macro binoculars from the back. There's multiple ways that you can do this. For my purposes, for this photo, I'm going to try just draping it over that left pauldron for the clone armor that he has on his back. I think that's pretty effective. I've discovered another place to hang it in one of the photos you'll be able to see when I show a portrait of it from behind. I think it's a bit more effective where I did it the second time around. Yeah, okay, I've got it below the rifle so he can reach back and grab that rifle if he needs to. Having it here, though, has the nice benefit of being able to see it when you're viewing it from that particular angle. It's not as hidden as if you would put it all the way to the back. Now, the Mythos Obi-Wan statue had the option to display Obi-Wan either holding his lightsaber or with the lightsaber sheathed, hanging at his belt, and with an open hand. So I'm opting to go with the lightsaber look, which is the look I had on the statue when I had it. Trivia, mine broke, and I've since gotten rid of it. Somebody else has it, somebody else fixed it, and they have a perfect Obi-Wan Kenobi statue, Mythos Obi-Wan Kenobi statue now. So congratulations to that guy for that. But anyway, so I've got his saber in his hand, and now just kind of moving that foot forward. And I'm doing this from memory, I have to tell you. So I'm just guessing. I think that the left foot is the one that was moving forward. I'm pretty sure. So I've got that foot going forward. Now, what I've found is that the range of motion going backwards on the legs isn't all that great. Fortunately, it's pretty limited. It goes back a little ways, but not that far back, which is fine. Most of us can't really make our legs go that far back anyway, and if I had done what I intended to do, it probably wouldn't look all that natural. At any rate, so I've got... Now what I'm trying to do here also is trying to get it to balance, which is going to be tough because see how that back foot is basically resting on its toe? There's legitimately no support. So I'm trying to find a point of balance with Obi-Wan here so that he's resting completely on that foot, but at the same time not looking unnatural, like he's posing. I'm the only poser here, Obi-Wan. Now you can see here that there's a bit of a gap between the neck and the top of the neck joint and the bottom of the portrait. I think that's by design. That's Sideshow making sure that you don't scratch the hell out of the neck every time that you twist the head. It works pretty well, and the benefit of it is that depending on which side you you have him displayed, you can adjust that head so that it seals off the gap in the neck. If you don't like gaps in the neck, well, then you can also hide it with the hood. But really, seriously, once you actually adjust it, then you can minimize the effect, if not make it disappear entirely. My memory's a little bit fuzzy on this, but I'm trying to recall. I want to say that the Ewan McGregor portrait is the portrait that was looking to Obi-Wan's right, like he is here, and the portrait of Alec Guinness was looking off to the left. Again, in a perfect world, the cape would be billowing out, and that can be accomplished if you wanted to add some wiring to it on your own. That's just a judgment call. I use a little bit of wiring just kind of hanging out under the cape in one of the photos that you'll see in a moment. But I think it works fine just the way it is. You can see him leaning a little bit to our left, and I think that looks really natural. But that's it. That's basically as close as I'm able to get from memory to the Mythos Obi-Wan statue from years ago. And here's just a little bit of a modification of that. I can't rave enough about the Mythos Obi-Wan concept. And the execution of this figure is pretty much everything that I expected from Sideshow. Judgment of the portrait is going to be open to interpretation, and I think that it's going to vary based upon the observer, upon the viewer and the collector. But I'm perfectly happy with the way this portrait turned out. It responds very well to lighting. It looks best when viewed from below and when lit from slightly above. I think it's fair to say that it favors Alec Guinness slightly more than Ewan McGregor, but if I look hard enough, I can find McGregor's likeness in there a bit. I'm perfectly fine with it representing Alec Guinness, though. He was my first Obi-Wan, and yeah, just look at it. I think it reads really, really well. Full accolades, though, deserve to be thrown the way of the cut and sew department. Just look at how well that fabric downscales. It reads so realistically, and I just can't talk about it enough. So I'll stop right now. That's about it. Really loving the Mythos line. Glad that we recently learned that it's going to be returning in statue form. Can't wait to see what other 6-scale offerings Sideshow brings. Looking forward to Boba Fett, for example. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about Mythos Obi-Wan in the comments below. And until next time, be good to your plastic.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.